Good morning, everybody. Welcome for our lesson today. We are still under the topic political development and systems, and we have established all the way from political association, Mau Mau movement. We talked about also the role of Legico. We also looked at the Second World War influence in struggle for independence in Kenya. So we want to look at the formation of KANU and KAU, KANU and KADUA, sorry. So KANU, initially I had established, and then I said it was formed in 1960, that's the March, by following the meeting of some political leaders in Kiambu County. Originally KANU was called Uhuru Party, Uhuru. So when it was formed by the political leaders, the colonial government refused to register this political party when it was called Uhuru Party. But we can see now, after some times, it changed its name to what we call Kenya African National Union, that is KANU, and later it was registered. So that it is. Then KANU was formed by what we call the majority communities in Kenya, that is Kikuyu and Luo. So most of the members were drawn from Kikuyu community, then some were from the Luo community. So that is about KANU. The founder members, we had James Kishuru, was the acting president of this political party. And then we are also talking about Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. He was the vice president. Then we had Tom Mboya, who was the secretary general. And then we had somebody called Athur Ochwada, that was the vice secretary general. So those are some of the founder members. So when you look at them, like James Kishuru, they are Kikuyu members from those communities. Then aim of KANU. What was the aim of KANU? The main aim of KANU was to push for independence. Remember, we have said that the Europeans were not good people for Africans, so Africans wanted self-rule. So the main role of KANU was to push for self-rule, or what we call independence for African people. Then to unite Africans to fight for independence, and we saw that one happened where they could hold the political rallies, educated Africans on their rights, and also demanded also they address grievances through this political party. So they united Africans, they mobilized them to fight for their independence, in that an African person can be free from being exploited by the white man. Then number 3, to fight for release of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. Remember, we said that 1952, there was what we call the state of emergency by a governor called Sir Evelyn Bering. So this time, we had some leaders who were arrested. So Jomo Kenyatta is one of them. He was arrested in 1952, during the declaration of state of emergency. So this political party called KANU demanded that this leader should be released alongside the other leaders who were detained by then by the colonial government. So those were the aims of KANU. Then another one, we want to look at the roles of KANU. The role of KANU in struggle for independence in Kenya. Number 1, united Africans to fight for independence. We have said the main aim here, or the main issue of these political parties, they wanted self-rule for African people. So they united Africans together so that they can fight for independence without any problem. And then they participated in drafting of independent constitution in the Lancaster House Conference. We shall talk about that. We talked about the Lancaster House Conference, which was held in London. That's the capital of our colonial master, Britain. So they went and drafted the new the constitution, which we call the independent constitution, which we have been using 50 years along the line since we got independence. So that is, then negotiated for release of leaders. We have said these people, they negotiated for release of some leaders like Jomo Kenyatta. That's why you'll find that 1961, after 1 year after formation of KANU, then we can see that Jomo Kenyatta was released from the prison. That's 1961, and the other leaders who have been arrested. Then lastly, led Kenya to independence. So the political party that led Kenya to independence is called Kenya African National Union, that is KANU. So you will find it even in our national flag. It is symbolized by cockerel holding an axe. That is what we talk about. And then after now formation of KANU, we have another very strong political party called KADU. So remember KANU, we said it was formed in 1960. That is the March, the month of March. So August 1960, the same year, KADU was formed. KADU means Kenya African Democratic Union. Now, KADU was formed by what we call the minority communities, small tribes in Kenya. They include the Luo, not the Luo, but we have the coastal communities. Then we have the Kalenjins. We have the Luya, and other minor communities in Kenya. So they were formed by minor communities in fear. So these members, they came and sat down, then they saw that the influence of big communities in KANU may exploit the people of Kenya. So the minor communities came to make or to form KADU to make sure that the KANU does not exploit the minor communities in Kenya. So it became the opposition party in Kenya. So we are saying this. The main reason why KADU was formed was to criticize the government. That's the ruling party, which was KANU. Then also to put the government on toes. Then also to make sure that the government delivers its manifesto to the people. So there was fear among the minor communities that members of KANU who are from the majority communities in Kenya, they could exploit the minor communities. That's why some members came together to form what you call KADU. Now, founder members of KADU, we have somebody called Daniel Arap Moi, was also a former president of Kenya. So Daniel Arap Moi, they formed the KADU, representing Rift Valley or the Kalenjin people. It's a Kalenjin. There was somebody called Masinde Muliro. Masinde Muliro comes from Western Kenya, represented the Luya community. Then there is somebody called Ronald Ngala. Ronald Ngala represented the coastal communities like Pokomo, Taita, Swahili people. So he was there. Then we have somebody also called Oletipis. Justus Oletipis was also another leader who were involved in formation of KADU. Then we have said the reason why KADU was formed was to make sure that the big communities in KANU does not exploit the minor communities or small communities in Kenya. Then the role of KADU in independence. Number one, we have negotiated for independence. KADU really negotiated for independence through their leaders and so on. Then they mobilized African for Majimbo. Another thing, KADU needed what we call the Majimbo system of government, or we can call it federal. So we call it Majimbo. It's called Majimbo or federal. Federal system of government or Majimbo system of government is where you'll find that the country is divided into regions. Then each region has separate power or leadership separately. So KADU wanted Majimbo system of government where they wanted division of the country into parts or regions like Rift Valley and Northeastern. Then those regions to have the leaders independently or separately. That's what we call the Majimbo. So it demanded for Majimbo or a federal system of government. So that's what you're talking about. Now, we are looking at the now attainment of independence. So we are finished about KADU and KANU. So attainment of independence. So we want to look at now we have struggled all the way from the areas where we started political association. We are now getting to attainment of independence. Now, attainment of independence, let us start first by the activities of Mau Mau movement. So the activities of Mau Mau movement led to declaration of state of emergency in 1952 by Sir Evelyn Baring. Evelyn Baring was Sir Evelyn Baring. Evelyn Baring was the governor by then. So this one was the governor, colonial governor. So he declared state of emergency. Then during that time, he ordered the arrest of all political leaders. So political leaders were arrested and other citizens who were against the colonial government. Then also he ordered the banning of all political parties. So all political parties were banned then to be like that. Then, so among those people who were arrested, we have Mzee Jomo Kenyatta and the other leaders. We normally call them the Kapenguria Six. So this one are called the Kapenguria Six. They are here. So we have somebody called Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, was one of them. And then we have Paul Ngei, we have Ochieng Oneko, we have Kung Karumba, we have Pildad Kagia, then we have Fred Kubai. They are called Kapenguria Six. They were arrested and detained in Kapenguria. Kapenguria is the capital of West Pokot County. So when you go there, that museum is still there, the prison where Mzee Jomo Kenyatta was imprisoned. So those are the Kapenguria Six. Now, what led to declaration of state of emergency, I've said, is the Mau Mau activities. Mau Mau activity led to the declaration of state of emergency, leading to all these events you have talked about. Mau Mau activities. Then, during a state of emergency, we are seeing that all political parties have been down, have been banned by the colonial government. Political leaders have been arrested and taken to the detention camp. Then also we are seeing that now there was chaos in the country, so there was a problem. Now we had some changes which took place during the state of emergency. So during the state of emergency, we had some changes in the government. So number one, 1960, the state of emergency was uplifted. To be uplifted, it means it was abolished. And what led to the uplifting of the state of emergency was the pressure from the LegCo. Remember, people like Eliud Matthew talk about Okina Benai Ohanga and also some elected members to represent regions in Kenya. So those people were making noise in the LegCo. They were really pressurizing the government to uplift the state of emergency or to come what to call an end or abolish the state of emergency. So 1960, change number one, what happened during state of emergency, abolition of state of emergency. Then number two, 1960, we had what you call the first Lancaster House Conference, which was which took place at a place called London. London is the capital of England, our colonial master. So first Lancaster Conference was held, and some members of KANU attended the conference. The main reason was to discuss issues about Africans, because there was a lot of pressure from Africans, more movement. Then also we had the LegCo, so they had to discuss some issues which could help Africans. Then now, what was the fruit or a good thing about the first Lancaster Conference? Kenya was allowed now to form political parties. Remember 1952, we have said, during the state of emergency, all the political parties were banned. So this year, Kenya was now allowed to form political parties. Then that's why we find now KANU and KADU now were formed during that time. So those were very strong political parties. So Kenya was allowed to form political parties. Then when they formed political party, 1961 now, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta was released from the prison. But before that, 1961, first multi-party election in Kenya was held. 1961, first multi-party election in Kenya was held, and KANU won. KANU won. It was told by the colonial government to form the government, but the KANU refused to form the government because the main reason, they wanted the release of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. They wanted the release of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta from the prison because he was still in the prison. So KADU was asked to form the government. Then KADU formed the government. Then 1961, when it reached 1961, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta now was released from the prison. That's August 1961. 1961 August, Jomo Kenyatta was released from prison. So we are seeing that KANU refused to form the government because they wanted KANU or Mzee Jomo Kenyatta to be released. Now he has been released from the prison. Now we can see that after release of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, there was somebody in the parliament called Kariuki Njiri. Kariuki Njiri stepped down from Mzee Jomo Kenyatta for the seat in the parliament. And then later, the acting president of KANU, James Kishuru, also stepped down from Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. So Jomo Kenyatta became the president of KANU. So that's what you're talking about. Release of Jomo Kenyatta, Kariuki Njiri in the parliament steps down for the seat of for Kenyatta. And then also we have, that is James Kishuru, the acting president of KANU, also stepped down from Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. So Jomo Kenyatta became the president of KANU. And we are seeing that this is the party that led the country to independence. So I think we shall wind up there, then we shall continue in our next lesson. Thank you.